little. Make sure it's turned down. That doesn't look bad. Oh, I forgot my little light. Oh well. Hi. Good evening. I'm here. I'm all alone. Well, producer's with me, but I know I'm late tonight by about 35 minutes, but that's okay. I did post earlier that it was going to be late. I got to fix something.
Mine's not showing up here.
Huh, that's right. I have it. Oh, is it private? It's totally private. Not public. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Kristen. There we go. One. Is that you?
I don't know if it's showing 0 people or not.
Okay, good. Phew. Thank you for catching that. Man, see, what would I do without the producer here? I would think I was all alone by myself. With no one to talk to, which happens from time to time.
You're dark.
I am.
No.
It might be the sun, where the sun is. I had to adjust a bunch of things today because I'm playing with new toys. I'm going to wait till someone else gets here. Doug Yates was texting me, asking me when I was going to go live, so I need to wait for Doug to get here. Because I don't want to... Ooh, two. Is it Doug? Is it Doug? Who is it? My audio seems to be okay. Yes, I think. Check. All right, so I don't know who the second person is that showed up live. But how's it going? Huh? Yeah, make a comment. Say hello. Wave, like me, do something so I know who you are. Just gonna sit here till they come. Till they come back. I'm gonna text Douglas. Okay. We are doing Jane Austen and Emma this week. Last week we've been doing Jane Austen. Doug's here. We've been doing Jane Austen for the last week or so. We did Pride and Prejudice for a little bit. Now we're doing Emma. I did tease last week that I was getting some fun new toys, and those toys showed up. And this is really a big test for me because I'm actually going to use this on a real job. But this is, watch this. Got the camera over here I can talk to. How does it look? It's a little bright. I got to work on that. I got to work on the, what's it called? Exposure. Looks like a lot of focus too, doesn't it? Could be exposure. And then I got this outside. Taking a live look to the east. Grays and Tories. Those are two 14,000 foot mountains that you can see from our house. And I have climbed both of those mountains. You can climb them in the same day. It's a fun trip. It takes a while. But you climb up one and then you go across the saddle and you climb the other one. So that is a live look outside here in Summit County, Colorado. It looked a lot prettier. Oh, that's right. Doug and Janelle, if you come to visit, we could do this we could hike those mountains with you guys. They're not terribly hard. Takes a while. Yeah, it's really like a 3.5, 4 hour hike up from the parking lot of the trailhead to the first one. But then when you go from the first one all the way to the second one and then all the way down, that's a haul. But we could totally do it if you guys come to visit. Emma. Let's get to Emma. The book was published. It was her last, second to last. Because what was the other one was her last? It's not here. Published in December of 1815. Jane Austen died in 1817. She was 41 years old. This is a story about a young woman named Emma Woodbury. Woodbury? Woodhouse. Emma Woodhouse. And she appears to be a bit of a spoiled. They had that back then? She died from Hodgkin's? Woo! That's a tough. No? No. Incorrect. Arsenic poisoning?
Because they were treating Addison's disease as a type of cancer. So he had cancer and they treated it. So he died from arsenic.
She had some form of cancer. They were treating it with arsenic. Arsenic? That's what you kill rats with? And then she died. Mike is rustling against your jacket a lot. Oh, it's because it fell, Douglas. God, you're the best. That's what happens when I move around too much. It's a private showing tonight. It's a small audience. I do not know what your opinion may be, Mrs. Weston, said Mr. Knightley, of this great intimacy between Emma and Harriet Smith. But I think it a bad thing. A bad thing? Do you really think it a bad thing? Why so? I think they will neither of them do the other any good. You surprise me. Emma must do Harriet good, and by supplying her with a new object of interest, Harriet may be said to do Emma good. I have seen their intimacy with the greatest pleasure. How very differently we feel. Not to think they will do each other any good. I am distracted by the sound of that engine. There's a car outside making a revvy noise. I apologize. This will certainly be the beginning of one of our quarrels about Emma, Mr. Knightley. Perhaps you think I am come on purpose to quarrel with you. I mean, these people should be from the South, from the way they talk. What did you learn today?
The Northeast and the South accents both derive from the English accent.
So what the producer is telling me is that Northern and Northeastern accents and Southern accents derived from British English accents. So there you go. So it makes sense. Perhaps you think, oh no, I said that already. Perhaps you think I am come on purpose to quarrel with you, knowing Weston to be out, and that you must still fight your own battle. Mr. Weston would undoubtedly support me if he were here, for he thinks exactly as I do on the subject. We were speaking of it only yesterday, and agreeing how fortunate it was for Emma that there should be such a girl in Highbury for her to associate with. Mr. Knightley,
I shall not allow you to be a fair judge in this case. You are so much used to live alone that you do not know the value of a companion, and perhaps no man that you do not know the value of a companion. I'll do that again. You are so much used to live alone that you do not know the value of a companion, and perhaps no man can be a good judge of the comfort a woman feels in the society of one of her own sex after being used to it in all her life. I can imagine your objection to Harriet Smith. She is not the superior young woman which Emma's friend ought to be, but on the other hand, as Emma wants to see her better informed, it will be an inducement to her to read more herself. They will read together. She means it, I know. Emma has been meaning to read more ever since she was 12 years old. I have seen a great many lists of her drawn up at various times of books that she meant to read regularly through, and very good lists they were, very well chosen and very neatly arranged, sometimes alphabetically, and sometimes by some other rule. The list she drew up when she was only 14, I remember thinking it did her judgment so much credit that I preserved it some time, and I dare say she may have made out a very good list now. But I have done with expecting any course of steady reading from Emma. She will never submit to anything requiring industry and patience and a subjection of the fancy to the understanding. Where Miss Taylor failed to stimulate, I may safely affirm that Harriet Smith will do nothing. You never could persuade her to read half so much as you wished. You know you could not. I dare say, replied Mrs. Weston, smiling. I thought so then, but since we have parted, I can never remember Emma's omitting to do anything I wished. I think that's a good place to stop. So, I like this story. I think I should actually read this book. I've never read it. Let me tell you a short story. Oh, look at there. I'm out of the light. I'm in the light. I'm out of the light. Short story. When I was supposed to read the books that I was supposed to read in high school, I never read them. And that's a long story. Debbie King is watching. Happy birthday, Debbie King. It's your birthday today, isn't it? Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. She's my sister's friend. I didn't read any of the books that I was supposed to read in high school. Not once. I didn't read a book, unless like a children's book, from cover to cover until I was 25 years old. We were on vacation in Mexico. There was no television. There were a bunch of books. Oh, I was 27. I was 27. I didn't read a book from cover to cover until I was 27 years old. There were a bunch of books. And so I decided, I guess I'll read a book while I'm here in Mexico in this awesome bed and breakfast with a private beach. And I picked a book off the shelf. It was a John Grisham book. I don't remember which one it was. I read it start to finish in 24 hours. And at that moment, see, I'm relating back to Emma because she created a list of books. I went back and I created a list of books of all the books that I should have read in high school, that I should have read in high school. Should have read. Okay. See, this is evidence that I should have been reading books in high school. And I read The Great Gatsby. I read Lord of the Flies. I read Catcher in the Rye. Metamorphosis. All those books that you were supposed to read. And To Kill a Mockingbird was one of those books. And To Kill a Mockingbird was such a good book, such a influential thing because it was the producer's favorite book that she had ever read. What'd you say? It's profound. That at the time when we were conceiving a child, I was just finishing up reading the book. And it was the producer's favorite book. So we named our child after a character in To Kill a Mockingbird. So I'm relating my own life experiences back to reading a piece of literature that was written in 1813, 14, 13, whatever it was. This is just an example to show you that books and literature and stories are what? Relevant. They're relevant to life every day. There's a story in a book that can touch and help you go, oh yeah, I can relate to that. They're relevant. So here on Reading Things with a Southern Accent, we like to keep things mildly educational. And so I highly recommend you read books. I currently have 2 books that I'm still trying to finish. One is about the band Joy Division. One is about the band Beastie Boys. But I think I'm going to try to read one of these Jane Austen books from start to finish. Nate Purcell laughing at me. Nate Purcell. Hey, Nate, check this out. I got toys. Oh, the camera shut off outside. Oh, well, that didn't work because the camera died outside. It's been sitting out there for a couple hours. We can do this, though. Hi, Nate. How's it going, Nate? Nate's a TV guy. That's why I'm doing that for Nate, because he understands the fun of toys. There you go. Still, this is my microphone. Ashley Bailey is here. You know, I'm just glad people come and show up and enjoy a little bit of me being a dork. We got to go cook dinner. Meaning the producer has to go cook dinner, and I have to go stand there and go, how can I help you? We're doing another tiny little sidebar. We went to Italy 16 years ago? 15 years ago. And my wife and her family took a cooking class, and she learned how to make this pesto. And it's the best pesto I've ever eaten in my life. And it's transformational. It's transportational. Every time I eat it, I go back to this like 15th century farmhouse that we were staying at. And it was amazing. This is just also a little promo for take vacations. I learned how to eat pesto in a 15th century farmhouse. I learned how to read books on a bed and breakfast in Mexico. Take vacations. Get away from your norm. Enjoy some time away from the everyday. And that's my little soapbox for tonight. I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go. Anyone else here? Nate, who's monitoring the audio? Nobody, Nate. Is it that bad?
Douglas said he took a wine drinking class. I said, oh, we did that.
Oh, we did that in Spain. We did. We took a wine drinking class in Spain. And that's another story for another day, but it was the funniest thing. How's this? Sounds okay to me. No one's... so there's a delay. It's very confusing to listen to and talk at the same time. But it sounds okay. Maybe you want to come over for the next one, Nate? See, I got to talk real slow. Anyways, we'll talk about Spanish wine drinking on the next one, because that's fun. My name is Murph. Thank you for watching. This is Reading Things with a Southern Accent, Reading Things with a Southern Accent, 2020, episode 61. We're doing this because in times like these, we need some nonsense. And I will encourage you, as always, to please wash your hands. Good night.